Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
6:07 as we charge through this Wednesday morning's news cycle. It's O'Connor and Company getting you where you need to go this morning. Informed and entertained. Coming up in 30 minutes, Cal Thomas. He'll bring the information and entertainment with him. He always does. 7:05, Maryland delegate Mark Fisher. You know, Wes Moore says that Maryland's becoming a more attractive place for people to move. I don't think the stats bear that out, actually. I think people are leaving Maryland, but that's okay. 7:35, Mike Gonzalez of Heritage Foundation, and then 8:35, Sean Kennedy, Virginians for Safer Communities. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
So there's some things that the left, Democrats, liberals, the media always like to say about immigration policy. Whenever you start to try to talk about this issue, they always sort of swat down your facts, your opinion, your analysis with what they claim to be the truth about immigration. For instance, if you say that, illegal immigration is a drain on our resources in our country, they'll immediately say, well, that's not true. In fact, they'll call them migrants or immigrants. They won't ever call them illegal. Are actually contribute to our society. They bring more money in than they take out. They're not even on benefits and federal welfare or anything like that. In fact, they can't. It's illegal for them to get federal benefits. The typical illegal immigrant is the valedictorian of your high school class, and where
they
would
make
we
our
be
country
without them?
richer.
That's right. In fact,
Yes.
Diversity makes us stronger. You'll hear things like that. Also, When you talk about anchor babies, when you talk about the phenomenon of pregnant illegal immigrants coming to this country and having a baby so that they can have a familial connection to a U.S. citizen, or you talk about illegal immigrants coming to this country and then marrying an American citizen. Or maybe breaking up a happy marriage and getting a divorce and then marrying one of the divorced spouses, hypothetically speaking, of course. They say, that never happens. And then they have a baby, of course. And then that baby of the illegal immigrant who's come and married an American citizen becomes another familial connection. All of those things get debunked, right? Never happens. All right, so here's the New York Times. New York Times writes an article. In the article, the headline is Republican Crackdown on Aid to Immigrants would hitting U.S. citizens. So it's how U.S. citizens are affected by ensuring that illegal immigrants don't get federal benefits. Now, understand something. Illegal immigrants are not supposed to get federal benefits. They're not supposed to get Medicaid. They're not supposed to get Social Security. They're not supposed to get welfare. They're not supposed to get food stamps. They're not the only thing that you could say that they legally are entitled to based on a Supreme Court decision is children get a public education. Okay, that you can't kick them out of the schools. That's just something the Supreme Court decided years ago. It should be revisited, by the way. But that said, none of those other benefits are supposed to apply to illegal immigrants. So now here's the New York Times saying, well, if you cut they cut the aid to immigrants, which apparently I was told they weren't supposed to get anyway. But if you cut it, that's going to hurt U.S. citizens. All right, and then you read down.
Hard to follow.
Yes, I know.
You're doing great, though. You're doing great.
So let me read parts of this. The actions amount to an aggressive attempt to curb immigrant families' use of safety net programs. Well, hold on a minute. I thought that they weren't supposed to be using safety net programs. In fact, I was told by the New York Times that they don't use safety net programs. That's a myth. It's a myth. All right. So this is an aggressive attempt to curb immigrant families' use of safety net programs, although Republicans say they want to remove incentives for people to enter the country illegally. What do you mean they say? That's the truth.
Yeah,
we
what's
want
the
to get rid
problem?
of unauthorized immigrants. That's what they're calling them now.
Oh,
unauthorized.
I got it.
Not illegal. They're just unauthorized. They haven't been authorized.
They love words.
Generally do not receive federal benefits given efforts to chip away at their eligibility. Immigration experts, so think about that. Within two sentences, it's going to curb immigrant families' use of safety net programs and then immediately say, but they don't generally receive federal benefits. Okay, you following? That's the New York Times for you. Immigration experts and advocates for immigrant rights say, and I love that. Okay, so immigration experts and advocates for immigrant rights. No reason to quote anybody who actually, is enforcing the law or wrote the law.
Right.
No, let's find out the opinion of immigration experts and advocates for immigrant rights. They say, quote now, the changes would instead largely be felt by children who are U.S. citizens but whose parents are undocumented or immigrants. Well, hold on a minute. So the cuts in federal benefits to illegal immigrants would largely be felt by children who are U.S. citizens but whose parents are undocumented. That would be an anchor baby.
Yep.
I was told that was a myth.
Yes.
I was told that never happens. I was told that people don't come here to this country to have a baby and then get benefits. Now the New York Times is telling you that if you cut the benefits to illegal immigrants, the people who will suffer are the U.S. citizen children that they've had.
That don't exist
Because it's all a myth. And then to reinforce their point, because really, see, here's the thing, it's all about the children.
It's all about
12% of American children, listen to this, 12% of American children are citizens with at least one non-citizen parent. That's astounding. 12% of the children in America, which they claim is about 9 million, I would think it's probably more than that, are U.S. citizens, and at least one of their parents is a non-citizen.
I also just want to say here, I wonder how much the New York Times is interested in the 320,000 children that went missing by the Biden administration. It's all about the children that are convenient to our argument. That's it.
Yeah. One other very interesting. So again, remember, first of all, anchor babies don't exist. Immigrants don't come here to have a baby so they can get benefits. That's number one myth. Number two myth, illegal immigrants aren't getting any benefits, except if you cut them, well, then
they are.
Citizens are going to, their children
And
who are citizens are going to suffer. And number three, when they come to this country, they actually aren't a drain on our system. They actually contribute to our system. They bring money into the system, and these children are, they're not on benefits. So here's the last part of this. This is all in 3 paragraphs in this New York Times article. 12% of American children, about 9 million, are citizens of it with at least one non-citizen parent. And then here we go. Children with at least one immigrant parent are twice as likely to live in poverty than those with native-born parents. I was told that they are the contributors to our society. I was told, number one, they don't come here to have babies, but if they do, they actually contribute more than they would take out. And now I'm learning that children with at least one immigrant parent are twice as likely to live in poverty, which means they're draining the welfare system through their illegal immigrant parents. Unbelievable.
Yeah. It's interesting how the New York Times managed to tell the truth without meaning to tell the truth.
Yeah. As one observer on the X platform said, this cruel, horrible bill might actually stop that thing we always insist absolutely, positively, no way in hell ever happens. And that's the New York Times. Finally, reluctantly, without actually knowing it, telling the truth about illegal immigration. It's 6:15.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
I am not running.
You're not?
I'm not running.
It's saying that. You're saying that for sure?
I'm not running.
That's Wes Moore, governor of Maryland, who, in fact, is running for president. You can tell because, well, he denied it, and that's Wes Moore for you. He will be running for president, but first he has to get reelected as the governor of Maryland. It would be a real harm to his political aspirations to be president or vice president in 2028 if he were to lose his reelection bid in 2026. And, of course, he's overseeing a disaster right now because of his party and because of his own feckless, ineffective leadership. He inherited a surplus from Larry Hogan, and he has whittled it away, and now he's had to raise taxes because of their budget deficit, because of all the hiring and spending that they're doing in Maryland. He, of course, is blaming that on Trump because of DOGE cuts, even though all of this happened before there was any cut to the federal workforce. And, oh, by the way, Virginia has quite a few citizens who are federal employees, and they have a surplus, and they've continued to have a surplus. In fact, they just instituted a tax cut. That said, Wes Moore has to lie to the people of Maryland so that he can be reelected. And so he posted on social media yesterday, and this is so painful. It's so painful because I guess what happened was somebody on Instagram, probably a Wes Moore staffer, But someone on Instagram sent a message to the governor's office that said, I might have to cross the bridge and become a Maryland resident because after 20 years in Virginia, I'm exhausted. And they keep showing all of these little Instagram messages of people saying that they want to move to Maryland. That, mind you, they're not actually moving. They're just sending an Instagram message. Yeah. And I would love to some enterprising reporter should find out exactly who these people are on Instagram.
Right, because the names are not shown. The names are not shown.
No names. Nope. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's the visual of this video. You see these messages, and then here's the audio. Governor Moore.
What's going on, everybody? It is time for this week's More Comments. Andrea writes, I might have to cross the bridge and become a Maryland resident after almost 20 years in Virginia. I am exhausted. Well, Andrea, I'm guessing you're in Northern Virginia, so of course you're exhausted. It's time to give Maryland a shot. We welcome you here, and we support all of our neighbors here. Amanda says, my husband and I bought our home using a first-time home buyers program. It proved absolutely invaluable to us getting our first home. We're very grateful. That is so great. It's stories like yours that make our work to expand affordable housing in Maryland so worthwhile. And importantly, I want everyone to know that our work on this is not even close to being done.
Oh, he's so natural and authentic, isn't he?
Yeah, can we also talk about that More comment title of that? There's so many things you could do with the last name Moore. Commenting more to say. So, sorry, it just stuck. I was stuck on that.
No, you're right.
So
but even beyond that.
Oh, and he's so robotic.
Oh, my
so
gosh.
Robotic.
He's so inauthentic, and it's so pre-programmed. He's so market-tested. He's so focus grouped. Did you notice he said, I'm guessing you're in Northern Virginia. Of course you're exhausted. That's right. See, if they lived in Southern Virginia or Western Virginia, where it's very conservative and run by Republicans at the county and city level, you're very happy. But if you're in Northern Virginia, of course you're exhausted. Fairfax is a mess. All those
Loudon.
Oh, wait, I've said too much. I'm sorry. Trust me,
So
it's
true.
not much better. So you got to love that. A little bit more here. Westmore has more comments from people who just randomly want to move to Maryland.
To being done. And now to wrap up all of our A names, one more from Aowa. I would love to move to Maryland, in the process of looking for a job and my new residence. I definitely love the leadership of this governor. Thank you so much. And our team is happy to help you out. Please visit liveworkmaryland.com for resources to help you find a job and a perfect neighborhood to live in. Can't wait for you to be our neighbor. So if you're also looking to make a move and come to Maryland, whether you're visiting family or coming in to see your favorite artist or looking to start a new business, now is the perfect time. We'll see you soon.
Gosh. So he posted this with the title, Maryland's becoming a more attractive place for people to move. But don't just take my word for it. Look at these comments from random anonymous people.
Anonymous Instagram.
From Instagram that proves it. Don't look at the stats. Don't look at the actual businesses that have left. Don't look at the migration numbers of people who are moving.
They're so bad. Was this David Hogg's idea? Seriously. They are so bad at communicating with just be normal. Be normal.
The responses to this on social media, so bad, cringe, deceit, desperation.
Smells like
it smells like BS. Soaring electricity bills continue in Maryland, and Westmore has closed electricity plants. They have no plan to keep the lights on, literally.
Well,
beginning in June, according to Fox 25 Baltimore, energy bills are once again set to increase. State agencies and lawmakers petitioning federal regulators, asking them to step in and provide relief to ratepayers. So they've created a mess, shutting down electric plants. They're not allowing new developments. And now, because the rates are coming up, they're begging the federal taxpayer to bail them out.
Well, and also Westmore sent a real big message to conservatives and Catholics and pro-lifers. Don't move here because we pay for your abortions. There you go.
There you go. And they're about to have their third-party chair, Maryland Democrats are, in 2 years because nobody wants the job. You said that there's other things that they could do other than more comments. Like more. Here's an idea for Westmore. Westmore, less is more. 622.
Coming up, we're going to talk to Cal Thomas. He's going to tell us his thoughts on the cuts to Harvard and defunding, NPR, the latest on Russia, all sorts of things. Keep it here. It is 6:30.
WMAL FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. WMAL. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 6:37 on this Wednesday morning from your nation's capital. It's O'Connor and Company. Coming up in 30 minutes, we'll speak with Maryland Delegate Mark Fisher about Wes Moore's fantasy life he's living out on social media. Wait, I should be more specific about that. The lies he's telling about Maryland. No, I don't really want to know about the other thing he's doing. Kind of an Anthony Weiner situation. 7:35, Mike Gonzalez of Heritage Foundation. 8:35, Sean Kennedy, Virginians for Safe Communities. I'm Larry O'Connor. She's Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
Cal, what do you think of the president's plan to further scrutinize foreign students right now and vet them to make sure? Cal Thomas is our guest, by the way. I jumped right in as if I had already introduced Cal, but you're part of the team here, Cal.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well,
increased vetting and scrutiny of foreign students who want to come here on international visas. One report, Harvard's own report, says that 60% of the students at the Kennedy School of Government are foreign students, Cal.
Well, I think it's good to take a look at their social media sites and see what their position on is about Jews and Israel and even the United States. I mean, it's a privilege to come here. It's a privilege to go to our universities, many of which are funded by and underwritten by American taxpayers and other students who pay tuition. But they also contribute something. So just to have a blanket saying, no, you can't come if you're a foreigner, I think goes a little too far. I think there are ways to do this, but I wouldn't do a blanket rejection all at once.
But are they? I don't know that they're doing a blanket rejection. I think that they're looking at each of these foreign students, looking, like you mentioned, at their social media and looking at their own records if they've committed a crime in their own country. And boy, they've listed some crimes like arson and human and animal trafficking and other things. You shouldn't be. I think if you commit a crime here, you're probably not going to go study over in Paris. So, I don't know that that's a blanket ban.
Well, if they're going to do arson, they ought to check those Portland rioters of a couple of summers ago.
Yeah.
They weren't even students. I think that's probably true. I think the criminals, we're trying to deport criminals, illegal aliens, that sort of thing. I don't have a problem with that. The press, of course, is playing it up as a blanket rejection. But there are a lot of problems at some of our great universities. People should go back and look at the history. Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Dartmouth were all founded on certain principles. I remember I was the one conservative invited to speak at Harvard's 350th anniversary in Cambridge, and I went up and I said,
wow.
They were all. Matter of fact, on the elevator with me was Harry Blackman, the author of Roe versus Wade, and he was a staunch advocate against the death penalty. I said, Mr. Justice, I'll make you a deal. I'll come out for eliminating the death penalty for convicted murderers if you'll come out for protecting the innocent unborn. He shot off the elevator like it was a gun. But
that would have been fun.
Yeah, I also said, Harvard has this great slogan called Veritas, truth, but Harvard's forgotten what truth is. The president of Harvard, the former president of Harvard, Nathan Pusey, once said, the least that should be expected of a Harvard graduate is that he pronounced the name of God without embarrassment. Well, now God seems to be the embarrassment at Harvard.
That's right.
Yeah, people forget that it was a divinity school when it first started,
yes.
but there's
They trained preachers
not much
and
divine going on there.
No.
Hey,
so what else we got?
Cal, while we've got you, the latest on, Trump said he was going to try to, he's going to solve the Russian-Ukraine war on day one. Of course, we all knew that was hyperbole, but he said it would, focus on it and actually get some results. Where do things stand? As of this weekend, Putin continued his violent attacks on Ukraine. Trump called Putin crazy. And, at least they're talking, I guess, but there's no progress.
Yeah, calling each other names, that's talking, all right. I think it shows that the cult of personality is not working. Trump has thought that he could negotiate with anybody, whether it's Kim Jong-un in North Korea, President Xi of China, or Putin, I've known him for years, he's a friend and all. It doesn't work with evil. You know, there's an Old Testament verse where God tells the ancient Israelites, you must purge the evil from among you. I think we got to get back those sanctions. Lindsey Graham and some others in Congress now are talking about that. Putin is not going to stop killing Ukrainians. He's not going to stop trying to occupy all of Ukraine. He thinks it is and should be part of Russia, and he's going after other territory if he wins this. And I think he's retooling his economy to a war economy. He's not going to be stopped by Trump's personality. We got to get tough with him.
I'm all for sanctions, but we don't do a whole lot of commerce with Russia as it is. I mean, wouldn't it make a bigger effect if the EU finally cut off all purchases and uses of petroleum products that are originating in Russia? I know that they claim they're not, but they're buying refined petrol and gas from India, and that's coming from Russia. So it's really an end around. You really want to hurt Russia, Europe should stop funding them through buying their gas and oil.
Well, I agree, but the problem with the European Union is they have all these nations and they got to talk to each other. There's no real unity. I mean, you got the headquarters in Brussels, but nobody makes a move alone. The United States should start as an example of this, and then encourage the European Union to actually do something. It is their territory after all, and Putin is not going to stop at Ukraine.
Exactly, and I agree with you. But until they get their act together, maybe they should stop lecturing us about what we're supposed to do to lead them. But I guess that's what comes with being the superpower. It's America.
That's
Speaking
right.
of superpowers,
You know about
Cal,
superpowers.
it's always great to tap into your superpowers. Are you more of a DC or a Marvel guy?
Well, yeah, I like DC, frankly. I wish I had one of the original comics. I wouldn't have to talk to you every Wednesday.
Thank you, Cal.
All right.
Read Cal's column. Go buy it. Thanks. Oh, they dropped the mic.
I love the hang up.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 till 9 on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Hey, you remember that old game in the 80s and 90s, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon? I think it was the 90s. Remember 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, of course.
It was fun where you'd like pick an actor and then you'd have to trace them through various movies to get
I'm
to
3
Kevin
degrees.
Bacon.
What are you? Oh, you're probably
Personally,
1 degree.
you're 3 degrees?
Yeah.
I saw him in a play once. Is that close enough?
But you
So
know
wait,
so
you're
many
saying-
actor,s No, so
if-
you
oh.
knew. Yeah, so
Gotcha.
you knew. I mean, you're probably 2 degrees because you know. So many actors.
I know. Yeah, I never worked with Kevin Bacon, but I worked with people who worked with Kevin.
Right, so
Bacon.
then you're
That's
3.
true.
Okay, so
gotcha.
do you know how this game works?
Yes. All right. Well, I was thinking of actors, but
You
you're
brought
right,
it
not
up.
an- Sure. All right. So Kira Sedgwick, of course, is 1 degree from Kevin Bacon.
That's right.
They live in the same house. They're married.
They're married.
And actress Kira Sedgwick, who I used to have a thing for. If you remember that movie with Al Pacino.
I was wondering how long this would take.
The Big Easy, I think. No, what was that movie called?
She was not in the big. That was
Al Pacino.
oh god.
Oh, that was he just played Ronald
the other
Reagan.
blonde.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Anyway,
Okay, it doesn't matter.
Kira Sedgwick, just after guzzling down what I'm guessing was about a gallon of Napa Valley's finest, decided to post a selfie video about how terrified she was of the Trump administration. Here, take a listen.
How you doing? I felt like it was important to get on the blower and talk a little bit about how I'm feeling and wondering how you're feeling about the state of our union. I'm finding myself pretty scared about a lot of things, scared about losing my rights as a woman, scared about losing my right to vote as a woman, scared about losing autonomy over my body as a woman, scared of my parents' Social Security checks, scared of food banks running out of food and not being able to replenish.
Scared about her parents losing her Social Security checks. She and Kevin Bacon have a combined net worth of $100 million.
Right. I mean, if you just want to admit you're a bad daughter, go ahead. Also, it's Ellen Barkin. That's the other one. That's the one you were thinking
Ellen
of.
Barkin, you're right.
Yes, because it was going to
my
bug me
gosh.
all day. Yes.
They're the same actress. You're 100% right. Kira Sedgwick and Ellen Barkin. I was thinking of Ellen Barkin. I never had a thing for Kira Sedgwick, but definitely
Ellen Barkin. She is.
Nice. Right? Okay, anyway, Kira Sedgwick goes on to... She wants to get everybody to a rally so everyone can be scared together.
The answer to being freaked out for me is about community. And I feel excited that we're coming together as a nation on Saturday. You can look it up in your area. It's Hands Off March. And,
yeah,
you know,
we're going to come together as a community, and it's hands off. But just so you know, if you try to get near Kira and maybe, you know, give her a high five, look out for the security around her, because that's where the real hands off comes in. Don't touch her. Stay out of her space.
Right. And also just be prepared for that contact high. That woman is so high, honestly.
There's something definitely going on there.
So just, you know, I don't know, wear a mask or something.
It's 6:51. Coming up in our 7 o'clock hour, we got you covered with Maryland Delegate Mark Fisher. Talk about the reality of what's going on in Maryland, not Governor Wes Moore's fantasy. And then Mike Gonzalez.